It's official. Giannis Antetokounmpo is leaving the Milwaukee Bucks to join the Golden State Warriors. According to sources, the situation began to unravel after Milwaukee waived Damian Lillard, a decision that reportedly upset Giannis. His frustration became apparent when he posted a cryptic tweet shortly after the news broke.
Going to be enough to keep Giannis in Milwaukee, who's been mum on his future with the team.
Well, it looks like we finally have our answer. But make no mistake, Giannis's decision to leave wasn't just about Damian Lillard. There's a lot more happening behind the scenes. Let's break it down. The earthquake that shook Milwaukee began on July 1, 2025, when the Bucks stunned the entire NBA world with a move so shocking that even veteran analysts struggled to process it. While the front office labeled it a business decision, Giannis Antetokounmpo likely saw it as the final straw. The Bucks made the unexpected decision to waive Damian Lillard, a 9-time All-Star and one of the most prolific scorers in league history, stretching his remaining $113 million contract over 5 years to free up cap space. They then used that space to sign center Miles Turner to a 4-year, $17 million deal.
Well, we have some breaking news from Sean Sharania that is very interesting, which is the Milwaukee Bucks have signed Miles Turner, which is a true stunner of a move on a variety of levels.
But this isn't just another roster move, folks. This is the story of how a franchise's desperate attempt to salvage its championship window may have accidentally triggered one of the biggest power shifts in NBA history. To truly understand the gravity of this moment, we need to go back and trace the events that led to this earth-shattering decision. Just 2 years ago, the Milwaukee Bucks were celebrating what they thought was the start of a new championship era. They had just landed Damian Lillard in a blockbuster 3-team trade, giving up Drew Holiday, Grayson Allen, a 2029 first-round pick, and pick swaps in 2028 and 2030. The basketball world watched in awe as two of the game's most dominant forces, Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard, teamed up in what looked like a match made in basketball heaven. But as we've seen countless times in this unforgiving league, even the most perfect plans on paper can fall apart once reality sets in. From the beginning, integrating Lillard into Milwaukee's system proved far more complicated than anyone expected. Reports indicated that Lillard struggled with the Bucks' offensive structure throughout the 2023-24 season, creating internal friction that eventually led to major changes. Most notably, the firing of head coach Adrian Griffin. And while Milwaukee still held the second-best record in the Eastern Conference at the time, the cracks were visible to anyone paying close attention. The chemistry that everyone expected between Giannis and Lillard never truly developed. Statistically, the decline told the story. Lillard's usage rate dropped sharply from 33.1% in his final season with Portland to just 26.9% in Milwaukee, while Giannis's dipped from 37.3% to 32.2%. These weren't just numbers on a page. They were signs of a deeper issue, a failure to build an offensive system that maximized both superstars' strengths. But beyond the basketball fit, there was also the human side. Lillard had never asked for a trade during his entire career until he left Portland. And even then, his preference was to join the Miami Heat. Ending up in Milwaukee, a smaller market far from his desired destination, only added to the emotional and professional challenges he faced. Despite his professionalism and effort to make things work, the situation was becoming increasingly difficult to sustain. Then came the true turning point, the devastating injury that changed everything. The 2024-25 season had already been turbulent for both Lillard and the Bucks. Earlier that year, Lillard was diagnosed with deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot in his right calf, which forced him to miss the final 14 games of the regular season. Miraculously, he recovered faster than doctors expected and managed to return to the court, but fate had another blow in store. During Game 4 of the 2025 NBA playoffs against the Indiana Pacers, Lillard suffered a torn left Achilles tendon, a non-contact injury that occurred as he went for an offensive rebound. The sight of him collapsing to the floor, clutching his leg in pain, sent shockwaves through the arena and across the league. This wasn't just another injury. It was the kind that can alter careers, especially for a player in his mid-30s. An MRI confirmed the worst. Lillard would need surgery and face a recovery period of 6 to 12 months, with most experts estimating around 10. For a 35-year-old already battling the natural decline of age, this injury threatened not only his season but potentially the remainder of his prime. The emotional toll was clear in Giannis Antetokounmpo's post-game interview. His voice trembled as he spoke about watching his teammate fall, his words reflecting both heartbreak and frustration. In that moment, you could sense it. Something inside Giannis had shifted, setting the stage for the shocking events that would soon follow.
Especially for a guy like Dame that he's a competitor, he wants to play in big games. He wants to help the team win. And when you see like a guy like that not able to, walk on his own, you kind of, this might be seated.
The raw emotion in Giannis's voice as he described that moment revealed the true weight of Damian Lillard's injury. Not just for Lillard himself, but for the Milwaukee Bucks' entire championship hopes. What makes this story even more gripping is the timing and context surrounding the injury. It happened just as the Bucks were finally beginning to show signs of the chemistry that had eluded them all season. In the few playoff games where both Giannis and Lillard were healthy, fans were finally seeing flashes of the dominant duo everyone had imagined when the trade was first announced. But then, everything changed. As Lillard lay injured and facing an uncertain future, the Bucks suddenly found themselves trapped in an impossible situation. They had already sacrificed multiple first-round picks to acquire him. Their salary cap was maxed out. And now, their second-best player was facing a year-long recovery with no guarantee he'd ever return to his elite form. The financial implications were enormous. The team was on the hook for a massive contract to a player who might not play meaningful minutes for an entire season. Inside the Bucks front office, the decision-making process during this period must have been agonizing. On one hand, they had invested heavily in Lillard, both in assets and in belief. On the other hand, they were staring down a harsh reality. Giannis Antetokounmpo, their franchise cornerstone and two-time MVP, might lose patience with the organization's ability to surround him with a true championship-caliber roster. Then came the most shocking development of all, the internal reactions to what happened next. According to reports, Damian Lillard himself was surprisingly at peace with the decision. He saw the potential silver lining. Being waived would make him a free agent 2 years earlier than expected, allowing him to return home to Portland, focus on his rehab surrounded by family, and still collect his full salary. But Giannis's reaction was entirely different, and far more concerning for Milwaukee. NBA insider Chris Haynes broke the story that sent shockwaves through the basketball world. Giannis Antetokounmpo was furious with the Bucks' decision to waive Damian Lillard. For Giannis, it wasn't just about losing a teammate, it was about trust, loyalty, and what the move said about the organization's priorities. And that frustration, as it turns out, would soon lead to one of the most dramatic player departures the league has seen in years.
Giannis wasn't happy about what they did yesterday, trading for Miles.
The implications of this growing disconnect between Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks cannot be overstated, especially given Giannis's long history of loyalty and dedication to the franchise. This is a player who has spent 12 seasons in Milwaukee, averaging 23, 9 points, 9 rebounds, and 5.0 assists per game over his career. He's a two-time MVP, an NBA champion, and a Finals MVP, the man who ended Milwaukee's 50-year championship drought and restored the city's basketball pride. This is not the kind of player whose concerns can be brushed aside, nor is he someone known for publicly questioning his organization's decisions. What makes Giannis's reaction even more significant is the timing and context surrounding it. In recent months, he has become increasingly candid about his future, openly acknowledging that he would consider playing elsewhere if it meant competing for championships. After more than a decade in Milwaukee, Giannis has made it clear that his loyalty comes with one key condition: the organization must remain fully committed to winning. According to reports, Giannis has been closely monitoring the team's actions, not just their words. He wants to see whether the Bucks are truly willing to make the tough, forward-thinking moves necessary to stay competitive. The decision to waive Damian Lillard, however, may have sent the opposite message. To Giannis, it likely felt less like a strategic reset and more like a surrender of the franchise's championship ambitions. And for a player who has given everything to the city of Milwaukee, that realization may have been the final push he needed to start seriously evaluating his next move.
Was open-minded about whether his best fit is in Milwaukee or elsewhere. I have not felt a shift from that mentality.
Giannis Antetokounmpo had recently expressed an open-minded attitude about his future, whether his best fit remained in Milwaukee or perhaps somewhere else. That perspective hadn't changed, but the Bucks' decision to waive Damian Lillard reportedly without Giannis's input or approval, sent a troubling message. It signaled that the front office was willing to make major, franchise-altering decisions that directly affected their championship ambitions without consulting their most important player. Then came the moment that truly set the basketball world buzzing. On the same day news of Giannis's displeasure broke, he posted a cryptic message on social media with the caption Mood 100, alongside a meme of himself smoking a cigar with the words, "I don't know what's going on right now, man." It was a subtle but unmistakable sign of frustration, a rare public display from a player who had always kept his feelings about team matters private. For Giannis, this was uncharacteristic, and for the Bucks, it was a clear warning sign that the relationship between superstar and franchise was beginning to fracture. The timing of all this is critical to understanding the larger picture. The Bucks' decision to waive Lillard is being called by some analysts the most expensive panic move in NBA history. By using the stretch provision on his $113 million contract, the team committed to paying him $22.5 million annually over the next 5 years. Money going to a player no longer on their roster. In a new collective bargaining environment where luxury tax penalties and second apron restrictions make flexibility more valuable than ever, this move severely crippled Milwaukee's financial maneuverability. And just as Milwaukee's front office seemed to lose control of its future, another powerhouse organization quietly began making its move: the Golden State Warriors. While most analysts focused on how Milwaukee's roster would look post-Lillard, debating whether Miles Turner's addition could complement Giannis, few noticed what was happening out west. The Warriors, one of the league's most strategically brilliant franchises, had been observing Milwaukee's turmoil with the patience of a predator waiting for the perfect opening. What many saw as a mere front office blunder in Milwaukee, Golden State recognized as an opportunity. A crack in the foundation that could allow them to lure away one of the greatest players of this generation. To understand how the Warriors positioned themselves for this moment, we have to look back at their recent decisions. Despite dealing with aging stars and record-breaking luxury tax bills, Golden State's front office never panicked. Instead, they took a measured approach, restructuring contracts, freeing future cap flexibility, and stockpiling assets, all while keeping a close eye on potential superstar shakeups across the league. Subtle clues began to surface months earlier. Head coach Steve Kerr had repeatedly gone out of his way to praise Giannis in interviews, lauding not only his dominance on the court, but also his work ethic, humility, and leadership. These weren't casual compliments. They were calculated gestures of respect, the groundwork for a long-term recruitment strategy. At the same time, Stephen Curry's interactions with Giannis on social media became noticeably warmer and more frequent. Likes, comments, and playful exchanges hinted at a budding friendship that went beyond typical professional camaraderie. For casual fans, it seemed like mutual admiration between two superstars. But to those who know how modern NBA relationships shape player movement, it looked like the early stages of something much bigger. A connection that could soon redefine the league's balance of power.
I believe that the best player in the world is Steph Curry. It's still the next player.
I appreciate the compliment.
When you look closely at the Golden State Warriors' recent moves, a clear pattern begins to emerge. One that suggests this potential partnership with Giannis Antetokounmpo has been quietly in the works for far longer than most people realize. The Warriors' strategic patience over the past 2 seasons now makes perfect sense when viewed through this lens. Their refusal to commit long-term money to role players, their careful preservation of trade assets, and even their willingness to endure short-term setbacks all point toward a franchise deliberately preparing for a transformative opportunity. They weren't just staying flexible. They were building the exact conditions needed to absorb a maximum contract player like Giannis without tearing apart their championship foundation. But the reasons why the Warriors are the ideal destination for Giannis go far beyond basketball fit. Though on the court, the potential synergy is undeniable. Giannis's background as the son of Nigerian immigrants who faced immense challenges growing up in Greece connects deeply with the Warriors' organizational culture, which celebrates diversity, resilience, and the pursuit of personal excellence. Under head coach Steve Kerr's leadership, the Warriors have built an environment centered on player development, tactical creativity, and unshakable team chemistry. The perfect atmosphere for Giannis to evolve his game while chasing more championships. Financially, the path for Golden State to acquire Giannis is complex but entirely achievable. Giannis holds a player option for the 2027-28 season, giving him tremendous leverage in any future negotiations. If he makes it clear that he doesn't plan to re-sign with Milwaukee, the Bucks could be forced to trade him rather than risk losing their superstar for nothing in free agency. The Warriors, in turn, could present a trade package built around young talent and future draft picks. Names like Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and multiple first-rounders. It's a hefty price, but one that pales in comparison to the potential reward. Adding one of the most dominant players in NBA history to a core that still features Stephen Curry, who, even in his mid-30s, continues to perform at an elite level. Timing is everything here. Giannis's contract situation means any move would need to happen soon, either through a trade request or by leveraging his player option. The Warriors, with their experience in executing complex deals and their deep relationships across the league, are uniquely positioned to act quickly when opportunity knocks. Beyond logistics, the psychological dimension of this potential move is equally fascinating. Giannis has been clear about his ambitions. He wants to win multiple championships. Yet as he enters the prime of his career, that window is narrowing. Watching his team make decisions that seem to prioritize financial safety over title contention has clearly eroded his confidence in Milwaukee's long-term vision. Golden State, by contrast, offers him something close to certainty, a proven path to contention every single season. Their consistency, developmental system, and culture of unselfish excellence create exactly the environment Giannis has sought his entire career. On paper, the basketball fit between Giannis and the Warriors is almost too perfect to believe, as if the basketball gods themselves have conspired to create it. Giannis's unmatched blend of size, strength, and intelligence complements the Warriors' strengths while addressing their few remaining weaknesses. Offensively, the combination of Stephen Curry's gravitational pull on defenses and Giannis's power in the paint would be devastating. Opponents would face impossible decisions. Double Curry and leave Giannis open inside, or collapse on Giannis and watch Curry, Klay Thompson, and the Warriors' shooters rain down threes. The pick-and-roll options alone would be nearly unstoppable, and with Thompson's off-ball movement and the team's signature passing rhythm, Golden State's offense could reach historic levels of efficiency. Defensively, the partnership could be even more dominant. Giannis's ability to guard every position and protect the rim would give the Warriors unprecedented versatility. Together with Draymond Green's defensive IQ, Klay Thompson's perimeter discipline, and the team's coordinated rotations, this unit could become one of the most suffocating defenses in NBA history. They'd have the ability to switch everything, pressure the ball, or wall off the paint, adapting to any opponent's strengths at will. But the impact of such a move wouldn't stop at the court. A Giannis to Golden State partnership would reshape the entire NBA as both a competitive league and a global brand. Giannis's international popularity and inspirational life story, rising from poverty in Greece to global superstardom, would merge with the Warriors' massive worldwide fan base to create a marketing powerhouse. Together, they drive unprecedented global interest, particularly across European and African markets, helping the NBA expand its international presence in ways never before possible. Financially, while the deal would be intricate, the Warriors have the resources, expertise, and foresight to make it happen. Their front office, among the most sophisticated in professional sports, has likely been running scenarios for months, pinpointing the precise timing and structure for such a blockbuster move. Culturally, the alignment is seamless. Giannis's humility, tireless work ethic, and team-first mentality mirror the values that define Golden State's dynasty. Under Kerr's guidance, he would find both the freedom to expand his game and the structure needed to chase greatness alongside some of the best minds in basketball. The ripple effect across the league would be seismic. The Bucks, saddled with Lillard's stretched contract and stripped of their franchise cornerstone, would face years of rebuilding and financial strain. Their fans, who waited half a century for Giannis to deliver a championship, would be left heartbroken. Meanwhile, the Eastern Conference would suddenly open up, with teams like the Celtics, Heat, Knicks, and 76ers all vying for supremacy in a Giannis-free landscape. In the West, the balance of power would tilt dramatically. Contenders like the Nuggets, Suns, and Lakers would face the terrifying reality of a Warriors team boasting Curry, Giannis, and a championship-tested core. The resulting arms race would reshape the NBA as teams scramble to keep pace with what could become the most talented and balanced roster ever assembled. The historical implications of this potential move are staggering. The Warriors, thought to be nearing the end of their dynasty, could instead be entering its most dominant and enduring era. With Giannis on board, they wouldn't just extend their championship window, they might redefine what sustained excellence in professional basketball looks like. For Giannis, this move would be the ultimate chapter in one of sports' most inspiring stories. From selling goods on the streets of Athens to hoisting multiple championship trophies with one of basketball's greatest dynasties, his journey would stand as a modern-day epic of perseverance and triumph. Already a two-time MVP, champion, Finals MVP, and Defensive Player of the Year, Giannis joining Golden State could elevate him into the stratosphere of all-time legends, a player whose legacy transcends eras and borders. The pieces are in place. The timing is perfect. The motivations align. Basketball history may be on the verge of repeating itself in spectacle.